It's London Gen Battle Rap World, and we are continuing with our NOME 10 NOME X breakdown. And we have got next Geechi Gotti versus Verb. Verb comes out in the first and tells him, this is top tier versus God tier. And he proceeds to little brother him for the round. He tells him, I left vegan Verb at home. This is beef. Fuck that pea shit. Nail of God, 2 across the lines, I'm not your crucifix. He basically tells him that he was propped up by smack, use a bitch, you get flued out by dude, go home, buy weave bundles, no, use a bitch. Ooh. It hit hard. It's not quite accurate. Geechi grinded and worked hard all by himself over there in the West Coast before anyone over at URL paid attention to him, but still fire. He calls him out for having no substance. Rounds created for convicts and Crown Vics. Ends the round by saying, you the king, I had the heir to the throne like LeBron, bitch. Okay, so Geechi comes out for round 1. He's super calm, relaxed. He's got that, that calm aggression that we love from him. He's at home in LA, in his backyard. He's got a line. Chris, been wanting to catch a body in my house. It sounds much better with Geechi's American accent. I tried. And then Geechi just basically punches for the whole damn round. Buried under them greens, you really are what you eat, you plant-based. I know Karma well enough, I could have borrowed from her. What the fuck, me too, I know that bitch. Then he's got a couple of battle rap current events bars. This one's really funny. Homie's calling me Anwar, plain to see, I couldn't control the bitch. Unloading clips, he's asking me not to, I'ma drop anyway, hip hop is real. I love Anwar and Rita. I'm not happy with the amount of hate that they're getting. I think what Knowledge did was a bit dodgy, but fuck man, that bar was fire. Verb's up. Geechi takes out his phone and I was like, what the fuck, what are you doing? You got through your first round pretty clean. There were a couple of stutters, not really any stumbles. What are you doing? Turns out he's typing in the caffeine chat. He's commenting in there, I think that Verb's trash. Hilarious. How confident do you have to be in the middle of your performance to be publicly commenting in the chat? Like, that's dope as fuck. So I reviewed the files and it was actually in Verb's second round that I dropped the pen and decided I can't do this anymore because Verb was going nuts. He was in his bag. I'd be on nutty block with nutty bars. That means it's a rap with 2 sticks together. I'll flip your bars around like a pro BMX style. You ain't top tier, you a puppeteer, you need a helping hand to talk to me. What? Basically saying that the URL propped him up because they needed a figure on the West Coast. Those are the only bars that I've got for this round, but that second round was really impressive. He was really rapping and I think it hit a lot harder than the first. The first, I don't really feel he was saying much. But in this round, he really, went at Geechi, and yeah, he was in his bag. Geechi comes out in the second talking about Verb's no sex before a battle statement, calls him gay. He then proceeds to go on the Verb's mum's a dyke angle, which is played out, and it's not even a real angle. Or it's not even a true angle, and for that, I don't know, you have to take some points away. There were some real good bars in there, but a lot of the round was your mum's a dyke, and that's been done and overdone and maybe done better. The gay bars, couldn't fuck a bitch because you had another nigger on your mind, that was dope. I liked Geechi's, never had a threesome, double murder. The only time I've got to see 2 pussies under a sheet, that was fire. on the mum angle. She raised you in a house with no meat. That's the reason why we've got this vegan verb. He's got a couple of bars in there that would have been haymakers had he been able to deliver them in a big room. This is one of the moments we can judge you by what you ain't say. If you had a big Gerald in your life, maybe you wouldn't be so feminine. And after the face-offs, where the whole chat was like, Verb, what the fuck? Calm it down. I was actually wondering if Caffeine were going to get a pause button in the prop section just for Verb's battle. But because it's an angle that's been overdone, and I think Geechi could have done better. Verb goes into the third, talking about Geechi and his real talk third rounds. He tells him, you just Geechi Gotti, I'm Gotti, I created the rule, and then proceeds to give him a real talk third round. He calls him out for being a crip who doesn't know his history, you know, doesn't know about the background of the Black Panthers, and he's doing it all wrong, basically. He's cripping wrong. But for me, this round really, it didn't hit. It was, his cadence was so monotone. It just came across as sort of really repetitive, and you know, he may have been rapping, but the delivery, the performance really didn't hit home for me. Geechi comes out in the third, and there's no other way to say this. He lets his nuts hang. He tells him he's the #1 battler. He's the most consistent. He battles on every league. He brings, you know, he unites Bloods and Crips in his battle with B-Dot. And he's really bigging up his record. He's saying he takes every battle seriously, from the smallest to the biggest, 1-rounders, 3-rounders, everything. Even at Genesis, you would have thought I was Anwar the way I spoke to Twerk. Oh, Anwar, I'm sorry, that hurt. That hit, and I'm sorry if it hurt. It was a hard bar. He calls him Pay Verb. He says he'll battle anywhere and everywhere for cash. He's the first Twerk, the first top tier booed on the main stage. He's booked for his controversy over better battlers. He's got a few stutters here. It's not coming out completely clean, but only some minor stumbles. He calls out A Verb for whining about crowd bias and things, and he says he's only done it basically so that he can blame it on the crowd when he loses a match. So after comparing their sort of battling record and, you know, his consistency versus Verb's taking every battle and underperforming, he now G-checks him and basically tells him, I'm gangster and you're not. He says, your hair had permanent like my criminal record. Says he'll die with cases hanging over his head like Tech 9. Ooh, boy. Then he talks about his little homies facing time, wishing they could face time. And he says he feels like it's his fault. They in jail for letting mine explode. Napalm. Geechi Gotti. What the fuck? And with that, for me, he took the third round. And therefore the battle, I gave it to Geechi 2-1. I didn't like his second round. I thought Verb took that, and I thought Verb's second round was a lot more straight to the point. He was rapping all 3 rounds, but the first and third were sort of a bit more lyrical and not very direct, and just didn't really have the punch for me that his second had and that Geechi's rounds did. And that third round, you know, I thought Geechi really sort of cemented it in that one.